Well, good morning, everyone. This is your personal transformation strategist, Shauna-Kaye Brown. And today we are talking about overcoming struggles and what you need to do to ensure that you come out victorious in the end. For those persons who don't know, the time for the Monday Mindset Motivation has changed. Normally, I do the motivation at 11:30 on Mondays. However, starting today, the time has changed to 6:30 a.m. I know it's a little bit after 6:30 now, but going forward, the motivation will come to you much earlier. I do hope that persons are able to join. I know that for persons who are working, who have a full-time job, you're probably in transit now or getting ready for work, and so you may have to catch the broadcast later. I apologize for the inconvenience for the persons who would have been more able to watch at 11:30, but I thank you guys who can join now. Good morning, Sammy. Good morning, Akita. Thank you guys for joining. As you know, the time has changed, or if you didn't know, yesterday I did give an update that the time for the Monday Mindset Motivation has changed. So normally the motivation is done at 11:30 on Mondays, but going forward we're doing it much earlier, and ideally I've set the time for 6:30 a.m. Eastern time. I do know that it's a little bit later than that time, but going forward that's when it will come to you. And I apologize for the inconvenience, but thank you all for joining me. So for persons who are just jumping on, this is your personal transformation strategist. I am here to help you to transform your mind so that you can transform your life. I know that for myself, I had to do some work internally before I was able to see myself as being capable of doing things that I had inside of me. Many of you have really big visions and big dreams, but you're so afraid because of some lie that has been told to your subconscious mind, or because of some sort of lies that were instilled in you growing up unconsciously by your parents or your peers or your teachers or people around you who you looked up to. And so you have come to believe that you are not capable of doing certain things, or that certain things are too good for you. I'm here to tell you that based on my own experience, nothing is too good for you, and no dream that you have is too big for you. It may not be easy, but as you know, nothing that is good comes easy. And I tell you, you need to start looking at hard work in a different way. You should welcome hard work, because what it does is that it helps you to become the best version of yourself. Hard work helps you to push yourself so you can see your own capabilities. So start looking at hard work today, henceforth, in a different way. Look at it as a way to push to see what you're capable of. Because even right now, as some of you are watching, and those who are going to join later, you don't even know what you're capable of. And I'm here to tell you that based on my own experience, I know that you're capable of doing much more than you're doing right now. And the only time you should feel comfortable with where you are right now, if that is what makes you happy and if you're feeling joy. Because and I've distinguished before between happiness and joy in the past. Happiness is something that it's somewhat fickle. You could feel happy right now and you get bad news, or you go outside and you fall down and you feel sad again. It fluctuates. But when you have joy inside, irrespective of your experiences, you're enlightened, and you understand that in life you're going to have certain experiences, but that will not steal your joy. That's where I want you to get, because when you get to that point, your joy exudes from within, and you can impact other people with it. So today we're talking about what you need to do in order to overcome. And the caption is that in order for you to overcome, you must commit your struggles to a power greater than you. That power is God. Some people may say Allah or the universe, but whatever big power, bigger than yourself, that you believe in and you subscribe to, you need to commit your struggle to that power. A lot of times, one of the reasons why we don't overcome and we sink under the pressure is that we try to take the struggles on and we worry ourselves to an early grave. That's not good, and that's not going to help you to leave a legacy for your children and your grandchildren. That's not going to help you to push yourself to become the best version of yourself. So you need to start looking at struggles in a different way. And the Bible says in Proverbs 16 verse 3, it says, "Commit thy works unto God, and your thoughts shall be established." It's a very short scripture, but it's very, very powerful, because what it is saying is that your struggles or your works, you should literally roll it up and commit it to God, because it was not meant for you in the first place. In the very same Bible that I rely on, because I think it is the greatest motivational book that was ever written, it says that you should cast your struggles upon God. And the reason for that is God knew from beginning that you were not going to be able to deal with all those struggles on your own. So he's telling you that he's by your side every day and he's there to help you, to guide you, and that you should cast your struggles on him. He doesn't want you to worry yourself to death. He wants you to focus on your dreams and to see struggles not as a defeatist mechanism, but something that will help you to become stronger and to become the best you that you can be. Sammy, oh, thanks a lot, Sammy. Yes, definitely. You have to put God in charge of everything, because you and I alone cannot do it. And if we don't put God in charge, we are setting ourselves up for failure. And why should we do that? You know, Jack Canfield says that success leaves clues, and that's true. All the persons who went before us who are successful, they believe in a higher power. If you listen to Oprah Winfrey, you know that Oprah Winfrey believes in God, and she's one of the most powerful black women or women to have ever lived. And you know that she believes in God. And I'm not saying that because Oprah believes in God, you have to. But you need to acknowledge that there's a power bigger than yourself that's operating. Because the moment you stop doing that and you allow your ego to take over, you're only going to operate within the limited confines of yourself. And that is limiting you and what you're capable of. So there are 4 points, or rather 5 points, that I want to focus on today as I speak about what you need to do to overcome. And the first one is that struggles prepare you for your big vision and for your victory. So that's the first point. Struggles prepare you for your big vision and for your victory. The second point is that you should learn what you need to do to overcome. Learn what you need to do to overcome. The third point is put God in charge. The fourth point, vision, decision, action. So you need to have the vision, you need to make a decision to act, and then you need to take action. And the final point is a reinforcement of point number 3, which is that you should never forget who is in charge. It is not you who is in charge, and it is not me who is in charge, but it is God. Hi Keisha, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining. Good morning, Saffron. It's good to see you. Thanks a lot for jumping on. So the first point, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm going to discuss is that your struggles prepare you for your big victory. So a lot of times, you know, we're inclined, myself included, to ask God, why me? You know, when something really bad happens to us, the first question is, God, why me? Why does this have to happen? You know, we cannot really see outside of that. And that's understandable. It's human nature. And when you're down, and when you feel weak, you feel defeated, it is very hard for you to see things in an optimistic way at that time. And that's why you have people like me to tell you how we deal with struggles and how we have come to realize is the most effective way to deal with struggles. So I am saying to you that you have to start, it starts from inside, it starts from in your mind. You have to start realizing that the way you construe struggles can go a long way in helping you to overcome adversity when you're faced with them. And that's inevitable. You are always going to go through struggles. You're always going to face adversity. So you may as well start developing a mechanism to deal with it so that when it comes, you can buffer it. Because if you keep going through struggles and you don't find a way to deal with it, each time you go through it, you're going to get weaker. It is like a house that is not built on sturdy ground and it's in a flood prone or a low-lying area. And every time the high tide comes in or it rains heavily, the earth around the house starts to deteriorate. And unless you do something, you probably pack some blocks or some rocks around it. Over time, what's going to happen is that it's going to deteriorate until there is no foundation and the house will wash away. It is the same thing with you when you go through struggles. If you don't find a way to reinforce yourself, if you don't find a way to buffer the struggle, the adversity when it comes, each time it's going to make you weaker and weaker until you find yourself incapable of dealing with it. And that is why I'm saying to you right now, you need to start adjusting your mindset and the way you view struggles. So one theory that I subscribe to is that struggles are really there to make you stronger and to prepare you for the outcome. And that is why I often say that the process is just as important as the outcome. And there are even some people who believe that the process is more important than the outcome. Because the person you're going to become when you go through that process, Saffron says, God is awesome. I needed to be reminded of this now. Indeed, Saffron. And if you believe, not you, Saffron, but all of us, if we believe that we're doing anything out of out of our own capabilities alone without any help from God and any guidance from God, we're making a big mistake, because every work that we were called to do was prepared ahead of us. God knows already what it is that we're meant to do. He's just waiting on us to put him in charge so that he can guide us into that process. And if we want to be successful, we have to acknowledge that he is in charge, and that the struggles that we're going through, they are not coincidental. They were meant to be, because he wants us to be ready. And last week I was in church, and I remember last weekend I was in church, and one of the messages that was spoken was that basically God is going to continue to test you until you have passed the test, because it's only when you have passed the test that you will be ready for the promotion. Now, isn't that powerful, guys? Now, it's kind of like when you're in school, and if it is that you're to matriculate to the next level, for those persons who have gone to college, or just about any level in school for that matter, there are certain courses that are called prerequisites, that if you don't do those level 1 courses, you cannot move to level 2 and so on. If it is that you fail the level 1 course, you have to do it again. You have to retake that test before you can go to level 2. And you're going to keep retaking it until you pass it before you can matriculate to level 2. So it's the same thing when you have something that you are meant to do, when you have a big vision that you want to see come to fruition. God is going to continue to test you until you're ready. When you pass the test, that's the only time you can go on to the next level. So every time you face a test, instead of saying, God, why me? I just went through something last week. No, it's the same thing again. Instead of asking that, you need to stop, do some introspection, and ask God, what is it that you're trying to teach me? Because sometimes we get so wrapped up in the struggle that we don't realize that there is a big, much more important lesson encapsulated in that struggle. So we get distracted and we start focusing on the problem, and it becomes so big and it multiplies and it takes us over, engulf us, swallow us, and we don't want that. So I'm just trying to tell you right now that what you need to do is to start construing struggle in a different way. Look at it as a means by which you're being prepared to take on the big vision, to step into your greatness, and to do the work that you were called to do. So it starts in the mind. I'm saying to you that to deal with your struggles, or how I have dealt with it, is that I have adjusted my mind to look at struggles in a different way, so that when they come, I say, thank God for this opportunity to learn something. And I say, thank God for choosing me to go through this particular struggle, because you know that I can do it. You have confidence in me, and that's why you have chosen me. I know it sounds airy-fairy, and it really takes a while for you to even start seeing things in this light. I promise you, it didn't happen with me overnight. At first, when I was introduced to this enlightened way of thinking, I used to think it was just fluff, until I started adjusting my own minds, and I realized that I am better and better at dealing with struggles, and now I'm imparting what I have learned and what I'm still learning with you guys. So the second point that I want to share with you this morning is that you should learn how to overcome. How do you do this? You learn to overcome by immersing yourself fully into the struggle that you're going through, and try to learn as much as you can along the way. Because like I said, adversity is inevitable. Struggles are inevitable. There's no way you can avert them. You're going to go through them no matter what. So in order for you to overcome them, you have to learn the process, learn the lessons that that the struggles are meant to teach you, and learn to avoid them in the next step, because the struggles are there to help you to become stronger. So in order for you to learn to overcome, you have to know what it is that you were meant to learn from the particular adversity that you're going through. The third point that I want to discuss with you is that you must put God in charge. The Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. It means that whatever it is that you desire, anything at all that you want, if you try to go after those things first and foremost, you're walking backwards, and you're going to find that you're setting yourself up for failure. So as not to do that, I am saying to you, follow the word. The word is saying that you have to seek God first. You have to speak to God first. And one of the elements of the message that was preached on as well was that sometimes you have to get quiet so that you can hear. You know, a lot of times you hear people saying that God has spoken to them. It's really not a big thunderous voice that comes and say to them, oh, Shauna-Kaye, you need to move. No, it's not like that. But really what these persons have learned to do over time is that they have learned to quiet. Quietude is so important. They've learned to quieten that loud voice, the noise that's going on inside. A lot of times there's so many thoughts that's going on in your head, and so many things that you want to do. You become overwhelmed because it's so much. And it's very, very important for you to have solace and solitude. And that's why so many people now are really going through calming processes like meditation and yoga, because these things help you to sort of filter out the noise that's going on inside, help you to center your thoughts. and help you to become more aligned. So quietude is very important. You need to become quiet so that you can hear God speaking to you. And God really speaks to you through the heart. God is a spirit, and it says in the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was God. If you have the word inside your heart, because then that's where the voice is coming from. You learn to listen to your heart. And that is why ever so often you hear people saying that, I wish I had followed my gut, because if I had done that, I would not be in this predicament. So following your gut is attuned to following your heart or your intuition. That is God speaking to you when you have that gnawing feeling inside that will not leave you until you do something about it. So you have to put God in charge so that he can guide you. And I'm saying to you again, guys, that no matter how big your vision is, it is not too big. When I first thought of applying to go study law, based on where I'm coming from, one could argue that that was far-fetched for me to even think that way. And it had nothing to do with me as a person. But the moment you open yourself up to see things bigger than even you have ever imagined that you could accomplish on your own, the moment you open yourself to seeing those things as being possible, that's you allowing God to take charge and you allowing ego and pride to die. The fourth point that I want to discuss with you guys. Oh, hi. It's so good to see you, Eileen. It's been a long, long time. Tamika, it's good to see you guys. Thanks to you all for joining. So the fourth point that I want to discuss this morning is that you have the vision, but the vision alone will not get you the success that you desire. So it's really a three-part process. The first part is having the vision. When you have that vision, you need to meditate upon it and think about it so that you can sort of see how the vision will develop. But after you do that, you have to orchestrate some kind of plan. And many times you may deviate from that plan as you get more knowledge and more wisdom. You may realize that the initial plan that you had was at the novice level and you need to do something about it to elevate it. And that's fine. But you have to start somewhere. Once you have that action plan, you now have to decide that you're going to act on it. Because you know that a vision without action is just a wish or a dream, if you may call it that. But without action, it's not going to get you anywhere. So that's why it's a three-part process. The first step is to have the vision and develop that action plan. The second step is to decide to act. And ultimately, you have to take action, take massive action. And you might not even know where you're going, but you still take a step. Because I promise you, once you start on your dream, once you take that initial step, the universe will conspire to help you. There will be persons who are stepping forward, persons who are silently watching you progressing and growing, or are willing to step in and say, hey, here's some guidance. They may not be able to give you something tangible, but a lot of times the voice of reason and the voice of wisdom is way more valuable than something tangible. In fact, the most valuable things in life comes to us free. And one of the biggest travesty is that we place a lot more value on the material things, that irrespective of how expensive they are, you will lose them and you can gain them as long as you have life. But the most valuable things have come to us free. And that is wisdom, knowledge, understanding. You can get those things at the snap of a finger, especially now with the automated industry and with the way how the internet is at almost everybody's fingertip, at least for us in the West. There is information. You can attend the University of Google free of charge, and there are so many things that you can learn. A lot of things that come to us for free we take for granted because we place value on things that money can buy. So again, just to recap before I reinforce the final point, the first thing is that you need to understand that the struggle is preparing the way for your big finish. So you need to start looking at struggles in a different way. Adjust your mindset so that you can actually be grateful for your struggles, just knowing how much you're going to learn from going through that process. The second point is that you have to learn to overcome. And you learn to overcome when you appreciate what the struggle was meant to teach you in the first place. The third point is that you have to put God in charge. That should really be point one, but I strategically put it as a third point because I want it to resonate and stay with you, and that's why I reinforce it as the fifth point as well. You have to put God in charge because everything starts with Him. It is not about you or me, and I'm speaking from my own experience. The moment I was able to step outside of myself and realize that it's not about what I think I am capable of, or what I think is possible for me, but what God has said is possible. The moment I've put Him in charge, the moment I remember that I have to seek him first was when I started to see, no matter how big the vision was, it was when I started to see that anything at all is possible for me. The fourth point is that you have to see the big vision, you have to orchestrate an action plan, you have to decide to act, and ultimately you have to take massive action. Even when you don't know how it's going to turn out, you have to take that first step, and the universe will conspire to help you. It means that it will send people who are silently watching you from the sidelines, or people who are already enlightened and understand where you're coming from, because you'll be operating on such a deeper level that persons will see that and they'll be willing to help you. And as a reinforcement of the third point, never forget who is in charge. It is not you, it is not me, it is God. For those persons who are just joining, I encourage you to go and watch from the beginning. And also, I'll take this opportunity to remind you that the Monday Mindset Motivation will no longer come to you on Mondays at 11:30 a.m., but instead it will come to you at 6:30 a.m. on Mondays, Eastern time, that is. If that's not a convenient time for you, then rest assured that the broadcast will always be available. It will be on my page. It will be in my Facebook group, which you're welcome to join as well. It is called Manifest Your Greatness, Believe and Grow. You are welcome to join that group. All the live broadcasts will be saved there. So if you're just joining, I encourage you to go back and watch from the beginning. But just so you know, the topic that we discussed this morning really centered around struggles, and that in order for you to overcome, you have to commit your struggles to a power greater than you. And for me, that power is God. If you want to call it the universe or Allah, whatever power outside of yourself that you believe in, you need to commit your struggles to that power, because you were not meant to carry that burden in the first place. I thank you guys so much for joining me, and I'll take this opportunity also to tell you guys that I have started a podcast of sorts. It's not really a podcast because Facebook doesn't really have that capability, but it's really a Facebook Live that I do on Wednesday nights at 8:30, but it is audio. So you'll not be seeing me, but you are welcome to join the conversation. Last week we had a very productive and it was just a stimulating conversation that we had last week. We spoke about the workplace and how do you thrive in a negative work environment. I thought that was a very stimulating conversation, and a lot of persons stood to gain some insights, because so many persons joined and shared their own perspective of how to deal with struggles in the workplace. And one of the most salient points that I remember that Georgina shared with us was that you need to start with yourself. If you're existing in a situation where you feel challenged at work, you need to start doing some introspection and assessing yourself to see if you're any way responsible for what's going on. It doesn't matter if it is not your fault, but it always starts with you. Remember, you are trying every day to become the best version of yourself. And in order for you to do that, one of the most important things that you have to learn to do is to take responsibility for your action. If you guys have any suggestion as to what we can speak about this week, then feel free to share. I will have something no matter what, but I'm here to serve you guys, so your suggestions will take precedence. Again, the podcast comes to you at 8:30 p.m. Wednesdays Eastern time, and it will be a Facebook audio, and you're all welcome to join the conversation. My website will be back up and running this Friday. It's manifestyourgreatnessnow.com, and it is new and exciting, and I'm just so happy to share with you. Thank you all for joining, and I wish for you a great week. I don't want you to belabor whatever it is that you did not accomplish last week. Last week is in the past. It's history. Don't spend the rest of your week pining over something that you cannot change, because there are a number of things in life that you cannot change, and one of the most significant one is time that has already passed. There's nothing you can do about it. But guess what? You have now. It is the second day in this week. September has just started. You have almost 4 solid months left in 2017. Forget about the resolutions that you had set at the beginning of the year, or even the goals that you haven't yet accomplished. You still have 4 months. Whatever you didn't accomplish, probably you weren't meant to accomplish in the first place, no matter how bad you feel about it or how dejected you may feel right now. Forget all that. But what you need to do, focus on these 4 months and push yourself like you've never pushed before. I was watching Saffron's video this morning on YouTube. That young lady empowers me so much. I haven't met her yet, but I cannot wait to meet her. And one of the things that she said is that what has worked for her and for me and for many other persons who are on our way to success is hard work and determination. You know, I can tell you from now until next year to be positive, but that alone will not help you. It's a great start, and in fact, you need to have a positive mental attitude, but you need to also understand the importance of working hard, the importance of staying dedicated no matter what. No one who has accomplished big things in life and who have stayed successful can tell you that they were able to do that without working hard. It is impossible. Even if you have rich parents or affluent parents, you still need to put your work in if you want to feel fulfilled. Because I can tell you, even if you have parents to give you everything you need so you don't have to work hard, you will not feel fulfilled inside until you put some work into it yourself. So again, guys, thank you all for joining me. I'm going to end the broadcast now, but I encourage, for those persons who are joining, I encourage you to go back and watch from the beginning. And thank you all. Have yourselves a great week. And I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another stimulating conversation on the Facebook podcast. Thank you all. Have a great day.